All right. So yesterday, I did a fair amount of drugs, and I watched some movie films. I did a little bit of a mini marathon yesterday. I watched 2 movies back to back. I don't do it often. And I know a lot of people, this has been a theme over the course of my movie review series, is a lot of people are shocked. I've never seen so many so-called classics. A lot of people, every time I do a classic movie review and everyone's like, oh, I've seen that 30 times. How have you never seen it? Well, get ready for another one. So, yesterday, I watched Back to the Future for the first time. And then, wait for it, after finishing this movie, I watched Back to the Future Part 2. I watched them both back to back. I mean, these are movies right here. This is a movie. This is a movie collection. This is a collection of films. Never seen them before. I love time travel movies, right? Everyone's recommended Back to the Future so many fucking times. Never seen them before. Until yesterday. So I watched both of them back to back. God damn. They're so good. I mean, really, they're so good. I could not stop laughing. I mean, they're just so funny. Like, the thing I love about these movies is most time travel films are like super serious or like attempt to be super serious but then fail, and then there's like in that weird like, you know, kind of like in between where it's like it's not that good but they're really trying, like there's not that serious, or like the rules don't make sense but they're really trying hard and it just kind of makes you uncomfortable. But Back to the Future, it knows it's a goofball film. It's a film by goofballs for goofballs, and it's just good. It's a good fucking movie. So, well, both of them. Now, I know there's a third part. I'm going to watch that very soon, probably, because I'm enthralled. But anyway, so let's start with Back to the Future Part 1. I mean, like, the way that both of these movies intertwine with each other, they really are just, like, one movie. They really are just one movie, right? Because Back to the Future Part 1, right? You got the kid, you know, fucking McFly, the kiddo, riding a skateboard around, like, whoa, I'm a skater, bro. And then, so then he's like friends with this doctor who we don't really know anything about, right? Until, like, you know, we're in, like, the parking lot of this mall, and then, like, you know, then there's, like, apparently there's, like, Libyan terrorists that are, like, you know, a little questionable as far as the tropes being displayed there. They, like, kind of try to gun him down, and then so Marty McFly goes back in time with the time machine to escape getting killed by the Libyans. Okay, interesting setup. So then he goes to 1955 from 85. I should have mentioned that. And but like it's only a one-way trip, right? Because you need the gigawatts. You know, like it's a classic. It's really good, right? So he goes back in time and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm screwed." But I love the time travel, like all the references and all the ways that like everything fits together. I think is really good. Like when, I'm not gonna lie, like the scene when Marty's mom was like super horny for him, I was so uncomfortable. I was like, oh no, right? Like, oh, it was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. It was hard to watch. I was crying. I literally, like, I was having a very hard time watching it. But I couldn't look away. You know, it's one of those things like when the fucking, like, could you imagine going back in time? And then one of your parents is like, obviously you're both the same age or similar in this situation, right? But like, oh, it's brutal. It's really hard to watch. But anyway, so like Marty McFly accidentally fucks up his parents' meeting, and so like the main thing is that he has to like make his parents meet so that he's able to be born, which is great. But then he also has to get back to the future, which is a great, it's the name of the movie. And then so he meets the doctor. But like the 1955 doctor, right? So he's a lot younger, but he looks almost identical. It's just like a slight hair color shift, and that's it. It's really funny. So anyway, there's an elaborate bullshit, and I love the scene when he's like in the dance and he's jamming out with the guitar. That was really good stuff. This movie is just fun to watch. Like it's just it's hard to review, right? But it's like if someone else hasn't seen this movie, I know I'm a little late to the punch here. But if someone else hasn't seen this movie, or both of these movies, they're must-watches. Like, you gotta watch them. No amount of a review is going to be able to do this one justice. You just gotta watch it. And I love that, like, Back to the Future 1 and 2 are basically the same movie, right? Because, like, the ending scene to the first movie is the opening scene in the second movie. They just replay, like, 3 minutes of footage. Because, like, you know, so the Doctor sends him back into the future, aka 1985. And then, like, the Doctor survives being shot by the Libyans because he has a bulletproof vest on, because Marty McFly told him in 1955 that he would get shots. And then he has a vest on, right? And then so the one from 1985 goes to 2015, and that's in the second movie. Now, you know, I lived in 2015. It was, you know, not that long ago. So I remember what 2015 was like. And I'm not gotta say, they nailed it. In this movie, Back to the Future Part 2, they nailed that shit. 2015, perfect representation of what 2015 was like. But anyway, so then they go to the future because the Doctor, who went to the future for an unknown amount of time, like, who knows how long he's lived in the future? Who knows? And so then then the Doctor, like, comes back, right? So he leaves at the end of the first movie, and then at the start of the movie, he comes back, like, immediately, right? But it's unknown how long he was in the future to get Marty, and then, like, they bring the girlfriend along, and then they go to the future because, like, something with Marty's kids or whatever. I don't even know what that storyline was about. Like, I don't know if they go more into that in the third movie. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the third movie yet. Maybe I'll watch it today. I don't know. But, like, part 2 it's again, it's one movie. Like, really, I mean, part 2. So they go back into 2015. But when they're in 2015, like, one of the evil villains from the first movie, Biff, steals the time machine, goes back to 1955, gives young Biff, the evil guy, a sports book so that he can bet on sports teams, and then he turns into, like, a Donald Trump figure, right? So then they got to go back to 1955, but they go back to 1955 on the day of the first movie's, like, climactic events. So then, like, I love the scenes in Back to the Future Part 2 where they're in the Back to the Future Part 1, like, timeline, but there's just others. Oh, it's just so good. I mean, really, it's just so good. Like, when that motherfucker is, like, climbing on the top of the stage, like, to, like, get the goons, right? So that his other self, who's, like, by the way, he's, like, experiencing this, like, immediately after, right? Like, you have to, like, understand, like, in Marty's situation, he hasn't even slept yet. Like, he hasn't, like, you know what I mean? Like this motherfucker, like, maybe, actually, I think he did take it, like, no, actually, yeah, he hasn't slept in between the 1955 in Part 1 and 1955 in Part 2. I don't think he's even slept, so it's the same, like, waking day for him. Oh, it's so good. But I love the parts where they're trying not to interact. Like, when the girlfriend interacts with her older self and they both pass out, that was great. I mean, what a great movie. Like, both of them. To me, I watched them back to back. I was enthralled. I was really high. And I was like, I mean, I got 2 hours to kill till Westworld comes on, so I might as well just watch both of them at once, right? Wow. I mean, what a movie film. It's so good. I don't know how I didn't watch these movies up until yesterday. So many people recommended them to me. So, like, when a lot of people recommend a movie to me, it puts it in this weird category where it's like, I know it's going to be good, and so I want to save it for, like, a good time period. Like, I want to save it for when I'm in the mood to, like, watch a really good movie. You know what I mean? Like, and so, like, for me, it's just I held off on it. Bodan, I didn't have enough time. I'll watch Part 3 soon, though. I'm in. But, like, one of the things I love about this movie is how over the top it is. It's so goofy. Like, it's so goofy. Like, of course, you got Doc Brown's character, who's just so fucking goofy. Like, every piece of dialogue is just turned up to 11. Like, it starts at 11, and then it turns up to, like, 21. Like, it's just amazing. It's great. Like, it's so funny. It's just so... Every scene is just hilarious. Like, and also like when they're in the future, and like this the fashion is to like have your pockets inside out. Like, what the fuck? It's so funny. It's so funny. And that's the thing, like, these movies are hilarious. Like, I could probably watch these movies again and enjoy them more. Like, this seems like a movie series that I would, like, probably end up watching, like, 10 times. I don't even know how I haven't seen it yet. It's just, but again, when I know a movie is going to be good, it puts it in this weird category where it's like, a lot of movies, I'll just, like, turn it on, and then maybe I'll end up really liking it. But if I know going into a movie that it's going to be good... You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to watch it unless I'm really, you know... But it was, you know, it was a good time. And I so much enjoyed these movies. And again, I'll watch part 3 very soon, if not just today. But, like, wow. I'm impressed. Like... The scenes where, like, that part where you're like, Marty McFly's trying to get the sports almanac from Biff, right? And then, like, he's just, like, chasing him, and there's, like, 20 minutes of, like, he's, like, almost gets it, but then Biff grabs it at the last minute, and then he has to follow him back into another, and then he almost gets it, and then it's the wrong book. Oh, it's just so good. I mean, I don't even, like, I could just, like, describe the movie. I could describe every plot point in the movie, and it's still, you know, you gotta watch the movies. They're just so good. They really are phenomenal. They really are phenomenal. And then I love how throughout the second movie, they bake in that, like, the time machine, like, is a little funky, and it accidentally goes to 1885 a couple times. And then that's what happens at the end, is that, like, you know... The doctor accidentally goes back in time to 1885, and then Marty McFly is like, oh shit, I'm fucked. But because he went back in time to 1885, he was always in 1885, and so he, like, took care of that, and then had some courier deliver a message to him. There was like it's just really funny. So I'm excited to watch part 3, and whenever I watch it, I'll review it. But goddamn, these movies were phenomenal. Like, again, I can't even describe how good they are. They're just so good. They're really just so good. I mean, they're... Like, the time travel mechanics don't make perfect sense, but doesn't matter. Who cares? It's just funny. Like, it's a funny goofball movie. And the fact that it isn't entirely internally consistent, in my opinion, adds to the charm. It's just so good. Oh, man. What a film. What a series of films, I guess. I keep calling them a film. I mean, I guess I watch them both in continuous order, so to me it's just one movie. But what a movie franchise series. Incredible. It's incredible. I really can't. They're just incredible.